Living past the age of 61 is often seen as a milestone, not only in terms of the number, but also as a significant turning point in life. It's a time where, with the wisdom accumulated over the years and the chance to reflect deeply, we can begin to simplify our lives. Often, we spend much of our existence accumulating worries, obligations, and even material possessions, none of which bring the joy or fulfillment we had hoped for. By this stage in life, it's not uncommon to feel as though we are carrying an overwhelming amount of baggage, emotional, mental, and physical. Now, more than ever, it's time to reassess and start letting go of that weight. Life becomes lighter when we strip away what no longer serves us. Time is precious, and it becomes clear that we don't need to hold on to everything, especially the things that don't truly matter. Happiness, it turns out, is not found in complexity, but in simplicity. The older we get, the more we realize that true happiness lies in the simple pleasures of life, things that don't demand extraordinary effort or grand sacrifices. A good conversation, the beauty of nature, moments of peace with loved ones. These are the things that bring us joy. The relentless pursuit of more, be it more money, more success, or more recognition, gradually fades away as we begin to recognize the beauty in living more minimally, with intention and peace. At this point in life, there is no longer a need to conform to the expectations others place on us. For much of our earlier years, we often live under the pressure of trying to meet the standards set by others. Whether it's society, family, or peers, we wear masks, pretend to be someone we are not, and hide our true selves in fear of rejection or judgment. However, after 61, many people come to the powerful realization that they no longer have to pretend. This phase in life is an invitation to stop looking outward and to start looking inward, focusing on what truly matters to us personally, rather than fulfilling someone else's idea of success or happiness. It is a time to live authentically, free from the need to impress others or meet unattainable societal standards. What really matters now? This is the question that often surfaces. As we begin to answer it, we start shedding everything that no longer serves us. With this shedding comes a profound sense of liberation and clarity. It allows us to live with more serenity, more joy, and a deeper sense of fullness. Life doesn't have to be cluttered or complicated. The demands and pressures that once seemed so important can be released. It is entirely possible to live more lightly, more simply, without strings attached. This realization opens the door to living with greater intentionality and joy. One of the first things we can let go of is the excessive preoccupation with other people's opinions. Earlier in life, it's common to be consumed with worry about what others think of us. We often find ourselves making decisions based on how we believe others will perceive us, striving to meet their expectations. As we age, however, there comes a point where we begin to realize that this burden is too heavy to continue carrying. After years of trying to please everyone and conform to societal expectations, we eventually come to understand that it's an impossible task. Everyone sees the world through their own unique lens, and no matter how much we try, we cannot satisfy everyone's expectations. After the age of 61, we often gain a stronger sense of self. We know who we are and what we want. The opinions of others start to lose their importance because we have experienced enough life to know that external validation is fleeting and often unreliable. True freedom comes when we let go of the fear of being judged or misunderstood by others. Instead, we start to focus on living authentically, being true to ourselves, and making choices that align with our own beliefs, values, and desires. After all, no one knows what makes us happy better than we do. This shift in perspective brings an incredible sense of relief. No longer do we have to shape our lives around the expectations of others. What matters most is being at peace with our own choices. living in a way that feels right for us. From the moment we let go of this concern, life becomes lighter. People may still have opinions about us, but they no longer have the power to affect us. We stop fearing criticism or rejection because we recognize that the only person we need to answer to is ourselves. This newfound freedom, being able to live without fear or guilt, is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves in our later years. Another key realization that often comes with age is that material possessions are not the key to happiness. Over the years, many of us accumulate an abundance of objects, often believing that these things will bring us happiness or security. Two people went unconscious. However, as we grow older, it becomes clear that these possessions are not the source of fulfillment. In fact, they can sometimes be a burden, taking up space in our homes and in our minds, yet contributing very little to our overall well-being. The things we accumulate often hold sentimental value or represent moments from the past, but clinging to them can prevent us from moving forward. Letting go of the physical clutter can be incredibly liberating. It opens up space, not just in our physical environment, but also in our hearts and minds. The process of decluttering and downsizing can be an act of self-care and self-respect. It requires courage to look at the things we've held onto for so long and ask ourselves, does this still bring me joy? Does it still serve a purpose in my life? If the answer is no, it's time to let it go. As we clear out these unnecessary possessions, we find that our minds become clearer, our homes more peaceful, and our hearts lighter. The focus shifts from what we own to what truly matters: our relationships, our experiences, and the memories we've created. There's a deep sense of peace that comes with living simply. When we no longer have to worry about taking care of so many things, we can devote our energy to the people and activities that bring us joy. Life is not about accumulating things, but about fully living each moment, making the most of the time we have. The less we focus on material possessions, the more we are able to appreciate the richness of our experiences. This simplicity allows us to live with greater tranquility, contentment, and freedom. Another unnecessary burden we can release as we age is the obligation to participate in social events and activities that don't bring us joy. Throughout our lives, we often feel pressured to accept invitations, attend gatherings, or engage in activities simply out of politeness or habit. We worry about offending others or feel compelled to say yes because it seems like the right thing to do. How many times have we attended social events out of obligation, even though we knew we wouldn't enjoy ourselves? As we age, we gain the confidence and clarity to reassess these social obligations. After the age of 61, we come to realize that life is too short to spend time doing things that don't bring us joy or fulfillment. There's no need to continue attending events or participating in activities just because it's expected of us. Instead, we can give ourselves permission to say no. Saying no to obligations that drain our energy or don't align with our interests is an act of self-care. It's a way of reclaiming our time and energy, choosing to spend it on the things that truly matter to us. This doesn't mean that we stop socializing or become isolated. Instead, it means that we become more intentional about how we spend our time and who we spend it with. We choose to be in environments that bring us joy and surround ourselves with people who uplift and support us. Each social interaction becomes more meaningful because we are there by choice, fully present and engaged, rather than out of obligation. This freedom to choose how and with whom we spend our time is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves as we age. In addition to letting go of social obligations, many people find that as they grow older, their preoccupation with physical appearance also begins to fade. Throughout our lives, we are constantly bombarded with messages about the importance of youth and beauty. We are told that we must look a certain way to be considered attractive or valuable. This often leads to an obsession with appearance, causing stress and insecurity as we try to maintain a youthful image. However, after the age of 61, many people start to see beauty in a new light. True beauty, they realize, is not about flawless skin or perfect hair. It's about the stories that each wrinkle and line tells. The signs of aging are not something to be ashamed of. They are a testament to a life well lived. We've earned every line, every grey hair, and every wrinkle through years of experience, growth, and wisdom. These marks are a reflection of our journey, and there's a certain beauty in embracing them. At this stage in life, the emphasis shifts from trying to meet unrealistic beauty standards to feeling comfortable and confident in our own skin. Yes, it's still important to take care of our health and well-being, but this is done with love and respect for the body we have, not out of a desire to conform to society's ideals. There's a deep sense of freedom that comes with accepting and loving ourselves as we are, without the need to prove anything to anyone. True beauty lies in authenticity, in being fully and unapologetically ourselves. It was after eating these biscuits. The fourth thing is an exaggerated preoccupation with physical appearance. Throughout much of our lives, we are relentlessly bombarded with images, standards, and ideals of beauty that suggest we need to be flawless. Whether through media, advertising, or societal expectations, we are led to believe that we must continuously fight against the natural signs of aging, wrinkles, grey hair, and changes in our bodies, as if they are something to be ashamed of. This cultural pressure often breeds insecurity and a constant sense of inadequacy. But there comes a moment when we realize that true beauty isn't in how smooth our skin is or how youthful we appear. It is far deeper, embedded in the story each line, wrinkle, and feature of our face carries. After the age of 61, many of us have lived through profound experiences: love, loss, joy, and sorrow. We've faced challenges, celebrated victories, and weathered many storms. The physical changes that come with age are not defects. They are a testament to all that we've been through. Each wrinkle is a record of the laughter and smiles we've shared. Each grey hair is a symbol of the wisdom and knowledge we've gained over the years. It would be unfair to try to hide or erase these marks that tell the story of who we are. They are our history, worn on our skin, and they deserve to be embraced rather than concealed. As we age, it becomes less about how we look to others and more about how we feel about ourselves. There's a shift in focus from appearance to well-being. Of course, it remains important to take care of our health, physical, mental, and emotional, and to feel good in our own bodies, but the obsession with meeting external standards of beauty begins to lose its grip. Those standards, created by industries that profit from our insecurities, no longer hold the same sway. We begin to understand that beauty is subjective and personal, and it evolves with time. The most significant aspect of aging gracefully is feeling comfortable in our own skin. Acceptance is the ultimate act of self-love. The changes in our bodies are part of the natural cycle of life, and rather than resist them, we can embrace them. This acceptance allows us to live more peacefully, more authentically. It liberates us from the exhausting pursuit of an unattainable ideal, and instead we begin to cultivate inner beauty, confidence, wisdom, kindness, and compassion. When we let go of the need to conform to societal expectations of beauty, we gain the freedom to define our own standards. We begin to see beauty in the strength of our character, in the love we give and receive, and in the way we carry ourselves with grace and dignity. True beauty lies in authenticity. It shines brightest when we are fully ourselves, unburdened by the need to prove anything to anyone. The lightness of being comfortable in our own skin, of no longer feeling the need to apologize for our appearance or age, is incredibly freeing. We stop wasting energy on fitting into molds that don't represent us. Instead, we take care of ourselves with love, not because we are trying to reverse the aging process, but because we want to nurture the body that has carried us through so much. With this newfound acceptance comes a profound sense of peace, happiness, and fulfillment. That, in itself, is true beauty. The beauty of being exactly who we are, without fear, without shame, and without guilt. The fifth thing to reconsider is engaging in activities that no longer bring satisfaction. How often do we find ourselves doing things purely out of habit, without considering whether they still bring us joy or fulfillment? For many years, we follow routines and traditions simply because they are familiar, or because we believe we are supposed to. These patterns may have served us at one point, but after the age of 61, we are given the opportunity to take a fresh look at our daily activities and routines. It's a time to pause and ask ourselves, does this still make me happy? Does this still fulfill me? If the answer is no, it's time to reevaluate and make changes. Throughout our lives, we often fall into the trap of autopilot living, repeating the same actions and engaging in the same activities because it's what we've always done. We may continue attending certain social events, participating in hobbies, or adhering to rituals that no longer bring us any real joy. These habits become ingrained, and we stop questioning their value. But life, after 61, offers the perfect opportunity to rediscover what truly matters to us. If certain activities no longer add value to our lives, if they don't bring a smile to our face or warmth to our heart, then perhaps it's time to let them go. This stage in life is a time to reclaim our days with intention. It's time to rediscover the pleasure in the little things and to seek out new passions that may have been overlooked or set aside during earlier stages of life. This can mean giving up habits that no longer make sense, like spending time in places that don't bring us joy, or engaging in activities out of sheer obligation. It can also mean learning something new, exploring a hobby, skill, or passion that has always intrigued us but was never given the time it deserved. The key is to live with intention, to do what makes us happy and fulfilled. Life is too short to be spent on things that drain our energy or feel like a chore. The most important thing is to make each day count by doing what brings us joy, even in the simplest of ways. After all, true satisfaction comes from living each moment with purpose, with a sense of freedom, and with the pleasure of knowing that we are doing what makes us feel alive. The sixth thing is breaking free from negative and toxic relationships. Relationships are an integral part of life, but not all relationships are created equal. Over the years, we may accumulate connections, whether through friendships, family, or acquaintances, that no longer serve us in a positive way. In fact, some relationships can become toxic, draining our energy and bringing negativity into our lives. Sometimes we become so accustomed to these relationships that we don't even realize how detrimental they are to our well-being. We may continue maintaining contact with people who, instead of uplifting us, bring us down with constant criticism, negativity, or manipulation. Maintaining these relationships, no matter how long they've lasted, is not an obligation. As we age, especially after 61, it becomes increasingly important to be discerning about the people we allow into our lives. This stage of life calls for careful curation of our inner circle, choosing to surround ourselves with individuals who bring joy, support, and love into our lives. Walking away from toxic relationships isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-care. It's a recognition that we deserve peace and positivity, and that we no longer need to carry the burden of toxic people. Letting go of negative relationships can be difficult, especially if they've been a part of our lives for a long time. But it's crucial to prioritize our own well-being. Life after 61 is about maintaining balance and peace, and that requires surrounding ourselves with people who understand us, respect us, and add value to our lives. There's no more room for those who bring only criticism or problems, for those who fail to appreciate us for who we are. We are not obligated to keep toxic people in our lives out of tradition, fear, or a sense of duty. The most important thing is to foster relationships that contribute to our happiness, growth, and well-being. When we allow ourselves to let go of relationships that no longer make sense, we create space for new, meaningful connections. We open ourselves to people who genuinely care, who share our values, and who bring lightness and joy into our lives. These are the relationships that deserve our time and attention. We can leave the rest behind without guilt, knowing that we are choosing to take care of ourselves. It's about surrounding ourselves with good company, people who walk by our side with affection and respect. This makes all the difference in the quality of our lives, and it's a decision worth making as we move forward. The seventh thing is comparisons with other people's lives. One of the most common traps throughout life is the tendency to compare our journey with that of others. From an early age, we are exposed to societal expectations and benchmarks for success that make us question our own choices, achievements, and lifestyle. We look around and it seems that someone else is always doing more, achieving more, or living a life that appears better or more fulfilling than ours. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and dissatisfaction. But as time goes on, especially after the age of 61, we start to realize that these comparisons are futile. Everyone has their own path, their own battles, and their own moments of joy and sorrow. By the time we reach this stage in life, we've lived long enough to understand that there is no single, universally right way to live. Constantly measuring our worth or success against someone else's life only distances us from appreciating our own journey. It makes us forget the unique value of our experiences and everything we've already overcome. Each of us has faced challenges, celebrated victories, and lived moments that are special and uniquely ours. Comparing ourselves to others distracts us from appreciating those moments and recognizing our own worth.